Well, welcome back to the channel. Today we've got a very special guest, Mr. Dave Hutch from Toronto. Dave, where does one start? Tell me a little bit about how you got into real estate.
I came from an athletic background. I played professional hockey overseas.
Oh, wow.
I had an undergrad in criminology, but I wanted to get into law. I wanted to be a lawyer, and law school is super expensive here in Canada. And my parents were like, "You're on your own on this one, pal." So at the time, my neighbor in my condo, she had a team of realtors. She's like, "Look, if you want to make some money to pay for law school, why don't you come work with me for a year? I'll split. Give you a good split, and you can take my leads, make some money, and then get out and go to law school." And I was like, "Cool, in and out." I had zero desire to be a realtor at all. I don't think any kid grows up and when they hit 14 or 15, like, "Hey, mom, dad, I want to be a realtor." Like it's not a thing.
No.
And if I did, my parents would be like, "Get back to school, buddy." So I had no intention of being in it or being around it. I just got in, and my first year, I did like 147 or 197, something ridiculous lease transactions and a few sales, but mainly
Wow.
leases, which is like unbelievable to some people. But I remember my first year, I put my head down, I did the work. I literally had no social life. I had the mentality, get in, get out. I want to make as much money as possible and get out of this and go back to law school. But I actually enjoyed it. I liked it a lot. I met a lot of really cool people. I won like top 30 under 30 or something in Canada for my brokerage, which was not a big accomplishment to put it in perspective. It was just a small brokerage, but it was good. It was a good feeling, and I stuck with it, and I like it. And here we are. So I had no intention of being here. I have zero entrepreneur background. I like talking to people. I like being around people. I'm very social, and I just use that to my advantage. And here we are.
Amazing. And so the brokerage that you're with now, is that the same one as when you entered, the industry? And how long have you been in real estate?
Yeah, I'm coming into my sixth year now. Honestly, my first one was a local Canadian brokerage called Royal LePage. It's like a mom and pop shop. Everyone kind of starts here because it has a big name behind it. And then I followed my team leader to a small independent brokerage, which wasn't really for me. So I went and worked with a developer for a few years. His name is Brad Lamb. He's a big condo developer down in Toronto. Very well known guy. Great brokerage. The splits were a bit off because he got to rely heavily on his name. So the splits were a bit high, but it just, after a few years of being there and kind of being able to not rely on him as much, I left, and I tried EXP very briefly. It just wasn't a good fit for me, and then I landed at Rare, where I am now. Not to talk poorly of EXP, it just wasn't for me.
No. And yeah, because I remember seeing that video actually when I kind of did a deep dive of you. And like what was it about EXP, without kind of, but
Yeah,
what was it that kind of, how long were you there, and what was kind of
yeah.
behind the decision making?
Yeah, I think look, I mean, EXP's business model makes complete sense. And any realtor that kind of fights that, they're just either ignorant or wrong. EXP's business model makes perfect sense. They're very established. My issue was a few things. I didn't like the cloud brokerage aspect. There's no offices. Some people have offices like kind of here and there, but I
Yeah.
felt it was very lonely. And the online stuff, it was like during COVID, everyone was already lonely. I didn't enjoy that no one had any in-person stuff. Maybe it was timing for me. I
Yeah.
also didn't like that they're extremely recruitment focused. I found in my experience that when I had questions about selling real estate, it was hard to come across people to get those answers from, because everyone was so recruitment focused that they take a step back from selling. And a lot of them are doing very well recruiting, but I still was active in buying and selling real estate. And when I needed those questions on a certain situation I was in regarding, a transaction, I found it hard to come across people to get those answers from. And their back end system, they're new to Canada-ish, and their
Yeah.
back end system was a disaster, man. Like, it was, again, I know it's improved since, so not shitting on EXP there. I know a lot of EXP realtors that are great people and great agents. It just, at that time for me, where I was in that exact moment, it just wasn't for me then. The brokerage I'm at now has a similar model, but a lot more in person, whatever.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Amazing. And like, what do you like most about being in real estate? Because I know you mentioned that you really enjoy talking to people, and whilst
Yeah.
initially it wasn't what you wanted to do, and then once you got there, you're like, oh wow, I'm one, really good at this, and two, making me decent money. But you know, what are the bits that you like, and then I guess a couple that you dislike.
Yeah. I think I found when I came into real estate, again, I came from an athletic background. I played team sports my whole life. I played ice hockey my whole life. And I always trusted everybody around me. So when I got into real estate, I had that same mentality and learned real quick that it's a very non-team environment. Everyone's looking out for themselves. No one will help you unless you give them money. And I was like, man, this is so much different than what I'm used to. So I just put a spin on that. And the thing I like about it is that I'm able to, like, my team, for example, we're a family, and I always, and same with you, you do the same thing on your social media. Like, I give out information for free. I talk to people for free all the time. I have conversations with other realtors for free all the time. And there's enough, the abundance mindset, you know, and having that mindset, there's enough for us all to eat. And if you work together, like we work together, you know, I'm trying to change that mentality of scarcity mindset, and everyone's working for themselves. So the thing I like about it is that, like, I'm able to kind of change that atmosphere and bring people together and create more of a team environment that it's you versus me. You know, we, at the end of the day, we work together, and collaboration versus you know, competition is a big change that we need, and I'm really happy to be a part of that. But first and foremost, honestly, the biggest thing I like is just I like meeting new people. Real estate has given me the opportunity to sit at tables that I probably shouldn't be sitting at, being around people that I probably shouldn't be around, and leveling myself up. And I find that people that are very successful in life, they're always willing to reach their hand down and bring you up if you're under them. I find it's the people that are below you that are trying to drag you down. But you know, I'm able to be around these super successful, very wealthy people and have conversations. They're more than happy to share their success and how they got there, and they give you that information. And just being around those people, it changes your life. Really, it does. You know, when you're around people that are at the next level, and not like a little bit above, I'm talking like next level people. You know, when they invite you to their table and you're sitting down listening to them talk, the conversations they have are different. The way they speak is different. Their actions are different. Their mindset is different. And it's cool to be introduced in that circle. So that's my favorite thing about real estate. My least favorite thing is kind of what I hit on before. It's like the mindset that it's a get me versus you. You know, a lot of realtors come from backgrounds where maybe they've never been a part of a team. They don't know how to succeed in a team. They have this mindset where it's me versus you. It's really not. You know, a lot of time when I'm in the middle of a transaction and I'm dealing with the seller agent or the buyer agent, I'm on the listing side, they come at me with like aggression, you know, and they come at me with like, I'm right, you're wrong. And it's like, hey,
Yeah,
look, we all let's
all the same
this
thing.
we're trying to close a deal, right? Like, hey, you're trying to get paid, right? Me too. So let's make sure our clients, you know, interests are protected, and we're looking out for our clients' best interests, of course. But it's our job to broker a deal. So let's work together and make it work, not fight each other and be rude about it, right? So that's my biggest pet peeve in this industry. It's very predominant. A lot of realtors have that mindset, me versus you. They're rude. It's like it gets you nowhere. It really doesn't. But
Yeah,
that's where we're at.
it's so interesting that you say that, because you know you're quite right in that, and this is what I've noticed, that all of the top guys, you included, are givers. You know, they don't ring fence this information. You know, like
Yeah,
all of the people that are in our, you know, the seven figure partners, they make their calls available to anyone.
yeah,
You know, they don't, and they're you know, giving value on social media, etc., and that's what I really want to bring by, you know, installing this coaching arm, is to bring, you know, 7, 8, maybe even 9 figure earners to, you know,
yeah,
the rest of the client base, and all ships rise with the tide. You know, once you start sharing those ideas, that energy, and as you say, you know, the mindsets, that's when things can really kind of unlock. And
big time.
you know, it's a real great kind of sense of community. And when everybody is giving value, you know, everybody's a teacher and everybody is a student. So it's
Of
like,
course.
yeah, man, it's
You
really
never
great.
know everything, right? Like there's tons of times where I'm in the situation and I'm like, I don't even know what this is. I gotta, you know, we downtown Toronto, it's a very different atmosphere than working sometimes in like the very close suburbs, right? And I need to make some calls to my friends and be like, hey man, I've never done this before. Can you give me a hand? And the people that help, it comes back, right? They're gonna need my help in the future. It all comes back around.
100%. You get out what you put in, man.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Cool. What's the biggest deal you have ever done?
It's not that big. 2.8 million. I mean, to some people that'd be big, but Toronto, it's not massive.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, 2.8 is my biggest one.
Love that. And
Yeah.
going back to your very first deal, what was it? What did you earn, and kind of what did you do with your first commission check?
Yeah. My first deal was a big one. My first deal was 1.7. Uh, he's actually the same person as my second biggest deal. He's what he just bought pretty recently. A close client of mine. He's probably bought $15 million of real estate from me and bought and sold through me in the last 6 years. That's where I learned that, this industry is very a lonely career. When I was a new agent, I joined a brokerage because the main person, the broker of record, said, hey, call me anytime you have any questions. I'll always answer for you. And I was writing this offer and he didn't answer. And I was like, shit. So I had to call a million people to try to get whatever help I could get because I had no idea what I was doing really. So I learned that, it's a very lonely career. You need to have a good network of people around you that you can rely on. My first check, I think I just probably paid off all my debts, man. I was hurting for a bit there. It was a good feeling.
Bless you. And also, because we spoke briefly about you growing a team, and how is that dynamic kind of one? How do you find now coaching others and installing that kind of work ethic and that knowledge? And two, how does it affect your personal production?
Yeah, it's been a really cool journey. I really never had any intention on starting a team. It just it came to fruition literally a year and a half ago. And I've grown from 1 to 12 agents now. And we have a really cool environment. I don't know. It just kind of fell into place. Everyone on my team gets along. Half the time I see, people on my team hanging out without me, on lunch and shit. And it's cool. It's like a little family. We have a group chat. Everyone likes each other. We hang out, we party together. We hang out at the office. We talk all the time. It's just, I've created a cool little family environment, the ability to grow because I give my top people on my team the chance to kind of mentor the newer agents as well. I don't just take it all on myself. I dish out my responsibility, and I feel that gives the top producers on my team a chance to feel needed and appreciated, that they understand that they're a big part of my team. I don't take it for granted what they do for me, and yeah, the way I structure my team is cool. I've done it a little bit differently. A lot of teams, it's 50-50 everything. I've created a tier structured where, if you're a new agent versus an agent that doesn't really need much help, you're able to jump around from tier to tier within my team so that you're giving me less commission if you need less help, because I want to keep people on my team. I want to create longevity and I want to create a family. I know a lot of teams in the city, they have a hard time with retention because once an agent gets to a certain point, they start questioning why they're giving the team lead 50% of their deals when they, don't really do much for them anymore. So I've created this tier system where, hey, you're starting to do good, move down a couple tiers where I don't have to you don't have to give me any commission, but you require a lot less from me. So it's win-win, and they stay within my group. In terms of my personal production, it's been okay. I think the first 6 months was tough. I realized that my production was down because I was putting so much into creating the perfect systems and trying to have everything ready to go and perfect. And that's something that I've done my whole entire career is I never have anything perfect before I implement it. I'm kind of a jump in and then figure it out as I go kind of guy. But it messed me up a bit because I didn't have a lot in place and I needed to scramble to get it together. So my first little bit took a while, but once I have systems in place, now it's pretty easy peasy. So it's good.
Love that. Love that. Cool. And I know we met back in January in New York, Inman.
New York,
so I know
yeah.
you're a big fan of real estate events and stuff. What's the
Yeah.
What's the best real estate event you've been to?
Yeah, FubCon was my favorite. So Follow Up Boss is a CRM system that a lot of us use down here. It was one of their first ones, I think, that they did. These guys dumped. I don't know how they profited. There's no way they profited on this event because it was next level. It was just set up perfectly. The speakers were awesome. Everyone is more intimate than a lot of the conferences I've been to, and a lot of these big people were giving super intimate, very hyper focused information. They all use Follow Up Boss. So they would say, hey, look, I have a team of 100 agents. These are the systems and the emails that I use. And it was awesome takeaways. Whereas sometimes you go to the other events and it's very generalized knowledge. FubCon was very hyper-focused towards Follow Up Boss use and how these top producing teams were using Follow Up Boss. And for me, that was it was the best. Even my team, I took them to that one and then Inman, and I work with Inman. So I love Inman too. But FubCon was wicked, man. It was a good time, and it was in Vegas.
And that was in October of last year, just after EXPCon, wasn't it?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. I
It
saw
it
that.
was
Yeah,
really
that's
good.
one that I want to do this year. I didn't realize
Yeah.
it was that they were so close to each other. Otherwise, because I was in Vegas for EXP
Oh, that's
Con,
right.
and then when I came home, I then saw. I think, in fact, I saw you at, but many
That's right.
others. The girl from Orlando. I liken her to the J Lo of real estate. What's her name? She's got #1 team in EXP, and
Oh,
she
Kendall?
absolutely. No, I can't think of her name. It'll have to come back to me. She's out of Orlando and she does the grid. And again, she's a massive giver. I
I
can
love that.
picture her, but I can't remember her name.
That's all right.
Cool. And have you been to any real estate events or conferences where you like where it's not really been a great event? And not to name them, but I know you
Yeah.
mentioned kind of generalized advice.
Yeah. I went to one in Toronto. It was an older coaching company that I was with, like a localized Canadian company. I just felt it would have been a great conference if you were a new realtor. It just for me where I was in my career, it was like a lot of very basic like entry level info, and I was like, stuff that I had known for quite some time, and for me it didn't make sense. But I think it would have been a great conference for someone in like year 1 to 3 maybe that was kind of new. But for me, it just wasn't it.
Yeah.
But
And with that said, kind of what are the kind of three pieces of advice or kind of three things that you would give maybe your 6 month in the industry self, or maybe somebody who is, just new to the industry that wants to get to 100K plus, kind of
yeah,
what would those three pieces of advice or tips or,
yeah.
be?
For sure. First and foremost, you need a CRM system. I don't care if it's a spreadsheet. Obviously, it's more ideal to use an actual like interactive CRM system to keep all of your clients' information. I know tons of realtors that just go willy-nilly, transaction to transaction. They lose their clients' info. It's in their phone. You need to be able to see it every day. You need to have some sort of lead flow every day. For me, I hired a coach year 3, and year 3, he said, go back and call all your first year clients. And I was like, oh, I don't even have their info. And he's like, you're an idiot. Like that's insane. And then he's like, okay, what about year 2? And I went through and called all them. And it was like, anyways, I'll get to my point too. But you're first and foremost, have a CRM system, put your clients' info in there. When you're making sure your CRM is active, up to date, cleaned up, all the proper stages, tags, notes, everything is through my CRM. Number 2 is very simple and just be making the phone calls. A lot of people shy away from phone calls. They just want to do whatever else is easy. I don't like making calls either. I mean, that's why I have you. But there are some people in my database that I have to call. And if you're not making the phone calls, it's gonna go. You're gonna get forgotten about. People have this mindset, especially new realtors, that when you're calling somebody, or people in general think that we're bothering people. If you're bringing somebody value, you're not bothering them. So I tell my team all the time, like, oh, I don't want to. I called him last week and he didn't answer. I'm like, call him every day until he answers, and have something positive or some sort of information to bring that person that's valuable to them. Then you're not bugging them. You're bringing
Yeah.
value. That's not bothering people.
Who can we
So number
help
one,
today?
right, exactly. So number 1, CRM. Number 2 is making the calls, and number 3 for me is, I think, trying to get back to meeting people in person. I know it's kind of come a long way, a far away, and a lot of people are so caught up in like the new what's Chat GPT 4.8 doing. It's like, do the basics. Real estate is great, but if you stick to the basics and get back to meeting people, building relationships, unfortunately, there's no shortcuts in real estate. If there was, we'd all be making millions, but unfortunately there's no shortcut. You have to just put the work in, meet people, make meaningful relationships with people when you meet them, because it goes a long way, and keep in touch with your database. But those are my 3 things that I never did. I was very transactional as a new realtor. I just wanted next, more money. But when I did those transactions, I forgot about that person. They were dead to me, and I went to the next. But within my own CRM, each of a lot of people's CRM, there's probably hundreds of thousands of dollars of commission in there. They just keep forgetting about it because they're not going back and touching base with them.
Interesting. And you also mentioned, because I'm super intrigued by coaching, and the 2 kind of main times where my business has blown up directly correlated to me investing in a coach. Tell me a little bit about that, because was it Tom Ferry you said that you work with and his team, and what made you take that decision, and what effect has it had in your business?
Yeah, I think a lot of realtors get into real estate just being, they're just working they're an employee for themselves. But when you're a realtor, you are an entrepreneur. You are running your own business, and if you don't act that way, you're going to be on the wheel forever, and you're never going to learn how to scale your business, take it to the next level, because realtors don't understand they're business owners. You are your own business owner. For example, if you don't know exactly your ROI on all of your spending, if you don't know what you're spending per year, if you don't know what you're giving your brokerage, I have such a detailed expense sheet and sheet that tracks everything. So I know where every dollar goes. I know what the return is for me. If it's making sense, I know how much money, I know when it's coming in. I know how much I'm giving my brokerage. I know how much I'm making from my team. So my business coach taught me, or real estate coach taught me how to run my business like a business, because a lot of people don't. It's been game changing for me because I'm able to see my numbers, find out what works, what doesn't work, and then adjust from there. But honestly, if you can afford a real estate coach, I highly suggest it. For me, that was the biggest thing. He also keeps me accountable. I'm very much like you, and for me, I have a million ideas. I want to do all of my ideas, and he keeps me on a train track, because if not, I'm going left, right, left, right. I want to try this. I don't really finish it, and I'm doing this. And for me, he keeps me on my train track. And on my coaching calls, he's like, "Hey, you just named 6 ideas you want to do. How about we pick one and we finish it?" I'm like, "Oh, okay, fine." So it keeps me going straight forward instead of doing this, because I will go left and right if I'm left. I'm like a child. I need parental supervision in my business.
Yeah, no, organization is super important. Systems, organization, that's kind of been concurrent through this. Amazing. And have you ever been to any of the Tom Ferry events?
You know what? I haven't. I'm new to the Tom Ferry world. I joined maybe like 4 months ago, but I would love to. I will likely go this year at some point. I think he has one in Dallas, so I'd like to go to that. I know I saw Tom Ferry speak at FubCon and at Inman, and he's a great speaker. He's very matter of fact. He's very old school with his stuff. I know, like I mentioned, everyone's always so focused on the new next best technology, whatever, but he brings you back to the basics, and the basics work they have forever. So it's cool to hear him speak. But I'll go this year at some point for sure.
Wicked. So we're going to wind down now with a quick fire round. So TikTok or Reels?
I think TikTok. I'm a big Reel guy. I'm trying to transition to TikTok, but I'm big into Instagram. But I think TikTok's taking off.
Are you doing much on TikTok?
I just started. I have 6,400 followers. I had a few viral videos, but I am now, as of last week, I'm going to post every day on TikTok and see where it goes.
Oh wow. Facebook or Instagram?
Instagram.
EXP or Real?
Neither. Rare.
Bless you. Looks or personality?
Personality.
Lakers or the Knicks?
I'm a hockey guy. I don't know anything about it. I'll go Toronto Maple Leafs.
Fair enough. Let's go New York or LA then. Let's pivot.
LA for the weather. I hate the cold, man.
Yeah, that was miserable back in January, man. I was just
sucks, man.
Gary V or Grant Cardone?
I like Gary V.
Positive or negative?
Positive.
Thank you so much, sir. You've been a wonderful guest. And look forward to working with you, man. So I think looking at the roster, you are first up. So, and as I say, from all of the polls that we have run, you are consistently the most requested coach. So I'm really looking forward to what what you're going to bring. And obviously you've touched a little bit on that already. And for those people that are, looking to kind of grow their real estate business and, potentially, working with you as a coach, what is it you're going to bring to the 7-figure power partner coaching?
Yeah, I think, listen, like I said, people get off track, and I think people need reminders. It's not about, we know what to do. A lot of realtors, they know what to do. It's that consistent reminder of being told that, you need to get back on track and do what you need to do to get stuff done. I'm not, you know what you need to get done. Everyone knows what they need to get done. I need to be there to remind them what they need to do, and just different avenues to take, and how to switch your mindset, and how to, bring that value to clients. I think a lot of people, like I said a little bit ago, a lot of people forget that being a realtor, you're bringing value. People think they don't want to be bothered by us, but if I can show you how to bring value and switch up your ways of communication to bring in new leads and to keep your existing database in touch with you, it's game changing.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, sir, and look forward to working with you.
Appreciate it, man.